women are the carriers of culture. That's the easy way to explain it.
The way you love Christmas, for example.
Because, look, I know it doesn't seem like it, but each individual is incredibly important to maintaining the culture.
Right.
Every person is responsible for being the best example of their culture that they can possibly be, to embody all the hopes and dreams and aspirations of your entire group that you call yourself a part of.
Right.
Okay, so women, part of the reason why the world is going to hell is because we've dropped the ball. Hate to say it, but that's the God's honest truth. We are the ones who are responsible for teaching. We are the ones who are responsible for teaching. And when we turn our children over to others that we don't know, that aren't family, that don't share our values, we endanger our future, because the children are going to be taking care of us in our old age. And if you haven't taught your children right, they will not take care of you in the way that you expect. They will take care of you in the way that their new self-created culture deems appropriate, which you may or may not like. This is incredibly important because the exterior culture is constantly trying to divert people from the path of human perfection. The whole world is like a distraction to keep us from achieving the perfection that we really, truly want.
Well, certainly, we were talking about this, that, at the end of World War II, they needed women in the workforce in order to, and during World War II, because the men were gone off to war.
Yes.
And so the whole thing started there. But then all of this encouragement of women entering the workforce at the end of World War II led to a situation where suddenly there wasn't a choice anymore.
Right, and that's the saddest thing, that women don't have a choice whether or not they want to work outside the home, because it has become so incredibly, not just expensive from a financial standpoint,
right.
but for those women like me who were pushed out of having families and very strongly pushed towards career as our primary focus, there's a level of dissatisfaction that comes with that. And I think it's important for women to understand that just because the culture at large and television and all this external stuff keeps emphasizing over and over, oh, well, motherhood's just a thing and it's easy and anybody can do it and it's obvious anybody can do it because anybody does do it, and no. You are so important as a mother and as a father to be able to inculcate this wonderful new human being with all of your best. And all of us in a culture have a responsibility to be on our best behavior at all times in order to be role models for the young. I mean, why is it that young people seem to have no role models? Well, probably because no one is standing up and modeling that.
Everybody is so busy working. I mean, just to get in, to make ends meet, it now takes 2 salaries.
Yes.
And then, but what are the consequences for our culture?
Well, the consequences are that only the rich can afford to have children. And this is a problem.
Not only, but I mean, certainly that's a problem. But even more than that, like, okay, you've talked to me about this so many times before. How so many things, like, for example, in past generations, mothers would teach their daughters recipes.
Right. Oh my goodness. This is, okay, so I want to talk about the craziest thing I've ever seen on television. And it's a culture destroyer. Straight up, it's going to destroy what little is left of what we consider American culture. It's called Home Chef. And you just pay a monthly fee and somebody ships you a box of food with a recipe and you fix it. And you're so proud of yourself because you're pulling off the little thyme leaves. How dare they have so much flavor? I know you've seen these stupid commercials. They're insulting. They really are. Because the job of teaching you recipes, that's what your mother and your aunt and your sister and your best friend do. This isn't something that you pay a company to do.
You know, one of the things that I appreciate most about you, Leslie, is the incredible value that you give to preserving our culture and transmitting it. It's really a big deal.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I take it very seriously because I see with my anthropologist eyes how culture at large is actively destroying our culture in an effort to make something new. Television has got programming in it.
Oh my
Neuro-linguistic programming, flash rates, modeling behaviors. Have you ever wondered why only the worst behavior ever gets shown on television?
Wow.
Monkey see, monkey do.
Right. They want us to imitate that. All of these weird ways of relating to one another.
Soap operas were the first and worst example because in a soap opera, guaranteed, the female characters were always going to make the worst decisions for the consistency and the maintenance of the home. And why were they force-feeding that to women? It was an effort to break up the home, because when the home is broken, the government can control. And that has been the goal all along.
You know, Leslie, for example, my goodness, she's an amazing cook. Southern cooking, she's got the entire repertoire. You know, Chinese, Asian cooking, all kinds of different things. But this is something you really take great pride in.
Well, it is, because what is my role as a woman? I have no children, so motherhood was never my role. Nurturer, preserver, healer. These are the things that I do. And all of these things can be accomplished in the kitchen, where the hearth is. Hearth and heart sound nearly the same for very good reason, because the heart of the home, in fact, is the kitchen. Please do not turn over the kitchen to someone else. If you must turn over your children to someone else, that I can understand. And if you're going to do that, develop a relationship with the teachers. Make the teachers your friends. Get to know them. Get to know who they are as people. Get to know them personally. It will make your experience and your child's experience much better.
You know, Leslie's actually quite stubborn about holidays. I mean, you know, some of them, Christmas, everybody celebrates Christmas. Leslie makes a very big deal about Valentine's Day, Easter, 4th of July, all the way around the year.
President's Day,
all of it, everything.
And this is because holidays are how we maintain our cultural identity.
Right.
Do not let these holidays slip by. These are the opportunities we have for teaching not just the youth, but also teaching ourselves what it means to be
an American.
Well, and for those of you who are participating from other nations,
countries, what it means to be
a participant in your own culture. Swiss culture is very different from American culture, and I would never expect the Swiss to celebrate some of the holidays we do. Of course not.
Right.
They don't have any conception of the joys of a 4th of July picnic, right? Not the way we Americans do. So,
no, but they have their own picnics.
They do have their own picnics, but the 4th of July is significant, and it's important. And
they may not have 4th of July, but they have fondue.
Oh, right. Oh, my goodness. And they honor their fondue, just like we should honor our hamburgers and fries and fireworks.
Right. You know, so it's really wonderful. And Leslie and I are actively supporting the maintenance of our culture, of our American culture.
Yes.
And also creating our own culture.
Yes.
It's one of the joys of being with an anthropologist.
Right, because I have studied cultural traditions from the planet. I often said when I was an undergraduate that what my real goal was to learn as much as I could about humanity on planet Earth, so that if I ever got the opportunity to be an extraterrestrial anthropologist, I would be well prepared to explain Earth culture to whomever I ran into. Because that is the next step, you realize. Exoanthropology, anthropology of extraterrestrial worlds. And some of the study is already going on. You can, if you're curious, look up exoanthropology. I think it'll blow your mind that there are as many anthropologists being paid by the government as there are to study the extraterrestrial culture question.
Oh, wow.
And this is, again, why I'm very, very interested in showing you how maintaining not just your national culture and the human culture, but your familial culture. the little interesting things that we do inside our own family unit that are different from others. And you should cultivate that, because those are the true flowers that we hand to the next generation. Now, I mention culture and all of this for a very important reason. All of the things that we do, celebrating Christmas, celebrating Easter, hamburgers, chicken on Sundays with all the trimmings. These are American traditions that cast the spell of Americanism throughout the area. You see? It's like a contagious spell. You know, when, I know you notice this, when you're around people who are, say, really into rodeo music, after you're around them for a little while, you begin enjoying it too, because you understand the cultural clues that are contained in it. And it's like a spell that is cast so that you step into the egregore of rodeo music.
Interesting.
You see? And you can do the same things. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and tell you rather than dancing around the issue. When I celebrate holidays, I'm spell casting. Straight up, period, 100%. What am I casting for? I'm casting to maintain the cultural heritage of the nation of my birth. First and foremost.
Which is very important, because it's under attack these days. The globalists just want to destroy America so they can have their world empire.
And I don't want that. And so every time I fry a hamburger, I know what I'm doing. I'm chiseling away at that ever so carefully. And also, every time I celebrate a holiday, I am thinking back to all the holidays I've ever experienced and reaching back into my ancestral memory and taking the best that I can find and laying it out in this new environment to be reappreciated. And that is a spell casting of love. And what I am doing is I am taking the love that I feel for my family and I am spreading it out through this ritual. All the little decorations, every drop of icing that goes on every frosted individual cookie. It's all spell casting. It's a spell, it's an act of love and devotion in order to maintain all those things that I love about my current life.
And our culture.
And these are things that you should be doing too. We've got a lot of holidays coming up. St. Patrick's Day. As a McQuade, that's a great holiday for me. And yes, I will put on green and go stomping about and bragging about my Mick name.
Irish whiskey.
You bet. These are important things to do. And teaching, not like Dave. Dave said that he was teaching his friends in Switzerland about American culture. Look at that. It's like a spell that can be cast and shared with many people.
I'm really glad that you start to talk about these things today, Leslie. There's so many women out there that would love to hear. I know. You've said so many things to me that have been so wise that I think that you know, and that women really need to hear from you, because you have a lot to say.
Thank you.
Have you ever wanted to gain real magical abilities so you can become the master of your destiny?
Do you wish you could get the ancient secret key for free so you can build the life of your dreams?
If you've wanted more out of life, to become all that you can be, physically, romantically, financially, spiritually, then you need to take action and get this right now.
That's right, and for free, but it won't be available for much longer.
So go right now to thescienceofmiracles.com and get started. Achieve the prosperous life you want for yourself. Gain ultimate life mastery.
Also find our daily ritual live stream.
That's right. Every day, starting at precisely sunrise Pacific time, you are invited to experience first-person shooter magic you'll find nowhere else on the web.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's not only unique in the way that it's presented, where you're live right in the middle of the action of the ritual, but what's even cooler about it is the ritual is written in the first-person perspective of Jesus Christ. Check that out. This comes from a manuscript that archaeologists found in Egypt. And they say that it comes from very, very, very early Christians, but the Christians themselves, those early Christians, say it was actually written by Jesus and was the secret magic he taught his disciples.
Regardless of who wrote it or who practiced it, we have picked it up, dusted it off, and we are taking it for a test drive, and you are in the passenger seat for the whole thing.
You bet. And it's really quite amazing. You're going to check it out. I mean, until now, after it was discovered, this manuscript has been in the hands of scholars. This is the first time it's really in the hands of magicians and being brought out and brought back to life. So check us out every morning at sunrise.
Are you familiar with the Rosicrucian with what's his name? He's popular in the States. He's the president or the from the Golden Dawn. What's his name?
Oh.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
Have David Griffin.
I saw an email yesterday that he sent out about, you know, there's a magical war going on.
Demons of the infernal realm. All of them.
There is really a magical war going on. There is a guy called David Griffin who is heading all these magicians.
David Griffin is S.L. McGregor Mather's present successor.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
I'm Golden Dawn Imperator David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
You know, there's a magical war going on.
So there is really a magical war going on.